This past weekend was the start of the NFL playoffs. In Super Wild Card Weekend, the Bengals held on to beat the Raiders 26-19. The Bills hosted the Patriots in the two regular season matchups. The games were close. In the rubber match, Buffalo destroyed New England 47-17. Tom Brady and the world champion Buccaneers took care of business against Philadelphia 31-15. San Francisco 1-0 finish against Dallas 23-17. Kansas City blew out Pittsburgh 42-21. And on Monday night, the Rams beat Arizona 34-11. Ladies and gentlemen, the divisional round is set. Titans, Bengals, San Francisco, Green Bay, Tampa Bay, Los Angeles, and Kansas City and Buffalo. 8 teams, 4 games. What teams will advance to Championship Sunday? The nation speaks to you. Next. From the gridiron to the court, talking all that is sports. Members of the Busted Open Nation bring to you our Nation Sports Show. Here are your hosts, Ezra Vickery, Joey Thornton, Kevin Rorie, Randy Gyron, and Stephen Wyand.
All right, let's go, guys. We are live. It is once again happy Thursday, everybody. Almost said happy wrestling, everybody, like Ian Riccaboni. Shout out to him. This is our Nation Sports Show. We are live once again, like every Thursday. Of course, we'll get to some news here in just a second. Just about that, about going live, but on a different day. We'll get to that in a little bit. But thank you, everybody, for joining us. It's going to be a great show, especially after this crazy wild card weekend. What a great set of games that we had. We're going to get to that shortly. But first, let's get to the ways you can follow us, of course. And that is, of course, on our social media. You can follow us on Facebook.com/Our Nation Sports Show, Twitter.com/ON_Sports Show. And you can also follow us on Instagram as well. You can follow us here on YouTube.com. Like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. Please get us to 100 subscribers so that way we can get to that custom URL. We're not that far off, guys. So keep sharing, keep helping us out. Because the quicker we get there, it's going to be easier for you guys to find us in the long run. It's easier for us to share content with you. And also, don't forget to check out, of course, our sister show, Nation's Quarter. Of course, they'll be there this Saturday as usual. But a busy weekend in pro wrestling. It should be one hell of a show. But let's get to it, guys. Let's introduce the crew as always. And we got with us a full house tonight. Let's start with our buddy here, who had a rough weekend last weekend, but his Raiders put on one hell of a performance, and he cannot be mad about that. And that is our good buddy Randy Gyron. Randy, what's going on, dude?
Hey, what's going on, everyone? Glad to be back. Had COVID. Tested positive for that. I'm on the mend, feeling a lot better now. I hope you guys are too. I know you guys also were under the weather, so I hope you guys are feeling better. Yeah, I'm just proud of the Raiders. They almost come back in that game, and just being there after all they went through this whole year says a lot about them. And I hope they keep Bisaccia. A lot of the players like him. And to ruin something I think they're starting would be a bad idea. And just just for my sake, just hear me here. The referees that refereed that game aren't even going to referee another football game again. So if that tells you anything about the Raiders and the NFL and the history of getting screwed. I'm just joking. But I digress. I'm glad to be here, and let's uh, let's have a good show.
Absolutely,
I'm
absolutely.
done with
We'll get more into that game here in a little bit. But we will definitely talk about it. And let's bring in our next buddy here, the man who I always say JT, not Justin Timberlake, but Joseph Thornton. Man, what's going on, dude?
Hey, what's going on, guys? I hope you guys are ready for another action-packed show. And I just got one thing to ask, just real quick. How about them Cowboys?
Oh, trust me, we're going to talk about that. We're gonna talk about how the Cowboys have been practicing social distancing way before the pandemic even started. But that's for a little bit later on in the show. I still got two more people to introduce here. We got a man whose team, the 49ers, somehow slipped their way into the playoffs and are going for that divisional title, man. And that is my buddy Kevin Rorie, the most astute man on the sports show panel. Kevin, what's going on, man?
What's going on, everybody? I just want to say, everybody out there that's watching and all of America, from brought to you by the 49ers, you're welcome. You are all welcome.
Woo! Oh, it's already started, folks. We haven't even gotten to the good stuff. And then finally, of course, as I always say, the matriarch of the show, my heavy metal brother from North Kakalaki, the man who has seen more concerts than I have football games, and that's Stephen Wyand. What's going on, my brother?
That is sad but true. What's going on, everybody?
Hey, what's up, man?
But what isn't sad is that the Dallas Cowboys are out of the playoffs. So, yeah, how about them Cowboys, boys? They're out of there. Go on. Get out. You're out of there. Go on. Yeah, let's go. Let's talk some football. Preview the weekend for the divisional round, the greatest weekend of football playoffs. So, let's go.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. And also, when it comes to ragtag sports shows featuring 5 people who have never met each other in their fucking lives, you wanted the best, they're not available, so you got us instead. But whatever. Let's move on, guys. We got a lot to talk about here. Let's get right into it. Let's get into the wild card round from last week, and what a set of games we had, man. Some nerve-wracking, a lot of nerve-wracking moments, but a lot of blowouts. And let's start with the game that was actually pretty close, and that was the Raiders and the Bengals. First game, playoff game in NFL history in which each team had 4+ made field goals. That's never fucking happened. But like I said, it was a close one, but somehow the Bengals were able to pull it off, and now they move on to the next round. But oh boy, do they have a hell of a challenge next week, which we'll get into in a little bit.
Yep.
Against a fire team from the Music City who's gonna be looking to make some fucking noise. Let's talk about that game. Though. Anybody got any thoughts on that Raiders Bengals game? I know Randy, you have some specific thoughts about it. You wanna go ahead and lead it off?
Well, yeah. I mean, like you said, I was just happy that they out there. The Raiders need some help on defense and all that, and Cincinnati's got such firepower on offense. I mean, I thought they were going to get blown out. Like I said, the Raiders just stuck with it and showed a lot of heart. And I know that. I mean, I make a big deal about that play. I mean, I'm just used to that. The Raiders suing the NFL for whatever reason, and the NFL and the Raiders not getting along. So that's going to be my reason that they lost. But I know that's not true. They kind of just ran out of gas, and maybe surprised themselves a little bit on that. But there's a definite blueprint that's there, and they need. Hopefully, they feel on it, and need another good, maybe wide receiver, another stud on defense. They're gonna be tough to beat. Keep Carr around, keep Greg Olsen with Carr. I think they'll do fine. And I wanted to say I wasn't here last week, and Kevin said we're welcome for them taking the Cowboys out, but I didn't get to apologize for the Steelers being in the playoffs, for the Raiders making that happen, and I apologize for that. No, sorry about that. I didn't want to see him either. So,
but I agree with everything you said. Derek Carr put out one hell of a performance. He did really good. I thought, Derek Carr to me is the future of the Raiders organization. It has been for a while. He's a guy who's going to help out, lead this organization. He just needs, like you said, the right tools. He needs another wide receiver. He needs just a few little things to tinker with, in order to get that team to be a Super Bowl contender. Which, I mean, they are, but to get further along in the playoffs in general, they have the ability to do so. Bully Ray says on Busted Open all the time about tightening the screws when it comes to certain promotions like AEW. Now, if the Raiders were to tighten those screws, get those additions and really, really fine tune everything, they could be an absolute threat deep in the playoff picture. That's for sure. The Bengals, like you said, they just had more firepower on their end, and they just played like madmen. And that's gonna be interesting going into this week's game against Tennessee. It's gonna be really, really interesting because you got two teams with great firepower, great core players. I mean, throwing, running, they got it all. Right. So it's going to be one hell of a great divisional round game, which we'll get to in a little bit. But yeah, Derek Carr to me did a great job. Raiders did a great job. There was that bad call, but in the end, they gave it their all. But the Bengals were just better that day. Kevin, your thoughts?
I'm gonna change the narrative, and it ain't about the Raiders losing. It's about how much the Cincinnati Bengals are streaking right now. Like, this is a team who won a shootout against the Kansas City Chiefs, who everybody considers Super Bowl favorites. And in my eyes, like, it seems like Joe Burrow is unstoppable right now. Like, next year, it could be a top 5 quarterback in the whole NFL, and for years to come. Jamar Chase might be a top 5, top 4 receiver at this point, his rookie year. And the whole NFL. My thing is, I think Cincinnati this offseason, do I think they're going to go deep? Yeah. I think they got the offensive weapons to go deep. Where I think it's going to hurt them is what their weakness is, and that's the offensive line consistency. And I said it last year that it was going to hold them back. It hasn't necessarily held them back. But I think next year in this offseason, if the Cincinnati Bengals can revamp that offensive line, just tweak it a little bit more and go get maybe a better defensive play caller, because they got the players, this team ain't going to be just Super Bowl contenders. In my eyes, next year, this is going to be the number 1 AFC Super Bowl favorite with the Buffalo Bills.
That's a good point.
In my eyes. And the Raiders, I agree with Randy. I really hope, and as someone who pulls for a team on the West Coast, I hope that they keep their interim coach right now, because you could tell the Raiders are playing for him. Like, he has the locker room. They love him. They love playing for him. They tried to fight for him. And if the Raiders owner should literally really dig down deep and say, you know what, give the guy a full-time coaching position. He deserves it. Going through all that and to still be able to make the playoffs, that damn kudos to you.
Yeah, I definitely agree with your narrative. It is very much, while I was mentioning about the Raiders losing, you're right. It is about, Cincinnati and how good they are, and just overall, and how bad they want to win and really how they want to make a playoff run, because Cincinnati's a team that hasn't won a Super Bowl in a long time. They really need this. And especially for that team who's been through a lot with the whole Andy Dalton situation, and just overall, it's been rough for them. Now to see them have this type of firepower and to see them really start streaking and making a name for themselves, it's great for the city of Cincinnati. It's great for the football team in general. It's great for the morale of the town, the team, everybody. And I think if Cincinnati can get past Tennessee, which it's, there is a possibility. Don't get me wrong. I mean, Tennessee, even though they're playing on another level, and like I said, we'll get more deep into it when we get into the divisional round predictions. It's gonna be a hell of a game. And like you said, Cincinnati played very, very well this past week, and it's gonna be a very interesting weekend coming up. But Steven, your thoughts?
This game was rather interesting because the way Cincinnati was playing in this game, they were playing with a lot of firepower. Joe Burrow and those guys were just firing on all cylinders, and the Raiders were down by 10 plus points. And they came back, and kudos to Derek Carr and the guys that are getting back in the game. And there was a couple of times in that game, especially when the Bengals had the ball, and I'm like, what are they doing? Like, you're supposed to put the ball in your quarterback's hands. And they were, making it, more difficult, more steep, and taking the ball out of his hands and giving it to the defense. And I'm like, the defense is a couple of plays away from that game being tied. And when Carr drove that ball into the red zone, I said, all right, here we go. And, just the way Carr was playing, with that intensity and just the fortitude, not giving up, and just the willpower to bring the Raiders back into that game. And like you guys have been saying, that they believe in this guy as their coach. I mean, you can tell they want the guy that's been helping with them ever since Gruden stepped down to be their coach. I mean, they're playing for this guy, and it was a great game. A couple of calls, that could have gone Vegas' way. The game could have been tied and went to overtime. And just Cincinnati just has way too many weapons on the offensive end, and it's going to be interesting when we get into that game, because Joe Burrow and those guys are streaking, man. They're just hot, scorching hot the way they're playing right now, and man, there's a common theme to this weekend. These games are going to be so hard to predict in a lot of ways, because any team can advance to championship Sunday next week. It's a good win for Cincinnati.
Absolutely. This weekend is pretty unpredictable. I mean, but when we get to that section, definitely we're going to talk about how unpredictable and how crazy this upcoming weekend is going to be. Joe, your thoughts on this game?
I mean, it was an all-around great game. I mean, both teams really went at it. But once again, Cincinnati just proves to be a little too much because of all the firepower they got on that side of the ball, with Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, Joe Mixon, T. Higgins. I mean, any one of those guys can just light up an entire team's defense. But Vegas, on the other hand, I mean, yeah, they had the odds stacked against them, and yeah, that touchdown by Cincinnati with the blown whistle should not have counted because, well, it's in the rule book, for crying out loud.
Yep.
But for real, my respect goes out to that Raiders head coach. I mean, because how often can somebody step in to be a head coach with all the turmoil and all the trouble that the team has faced throughout the regular season? How often, if that would happen to another team, how often would you bring in or promote somebody on your coaching staff to be a head coach that winds up leading you to the playoffs? It doesn't happen very often. It does not happen very often. So
because usually when a guy steps down from the head coaching position, or if he is fired and the team is still in the mix, for the playoffs, usually that team does not advance to the playoffs because the turmoil and all that stuff. So man, I mean, just the odds were stacked against the Vegas Raiders, and they pulled it out. They got into the playoffs, and just kudos to them.
And that's why I respect the Raiders head coach, because I mean, yeah, with Gruden getting fired with the emails, Rhodes getting released because of his accident, and that rookie corner who got arrested for being such a jackass and doing drugs. I mean, yeah, the Raiders had a lot on their plate. I mean, and nobody thought they were actually going to get very far with this new guy being promoted to the head coaching position. But my respect goes out to him because, I mean, he elevated Derek Carr's playing ability. He elevated Josh Jacobs' playing ability, and he was able to get the defense where they needed to be to guide them to a spot in the playoffs. So, if only we could say the same thing about Mike Tomlin, because even though Brandon Staley is a fucking head coach for the Chargers, they still deserve to be in the playoffs more than Pittsburgh. But yeah, that's just my 2 cents.
And if Staley didn't call that damn timeout, the Pittsburgh Steelers never would have sniffed the freaking playoffs.
No.
Horrible.
And they probably would have given the Chiefs a much better game than the Steelers did.
Oh, dear God almighty. That was a shit show of a game.
Oh man, let's not talk about that. Luckily, I'm not a Pittsburgh Steelers fan. Sorry, Deb. Sorry, Marks. But just kidding. We love our very own Deb Housen in Marston, New Mexico. Great people, Nation's Corner. Let's go on to the next game, and this game was a total blowout. The Bills stomping the Patriots out of playoff contention, 47-17.
Woo!
Josh Allen became the first quarterback in Buffalo history with 5 passing touchdowns and 0 interceptions in a playoff game.
Perfect game.
Right.
Perfect game.
And see, I'm going to go ahead and start this one off because, I mean, even though the Bills won 47-17 over the Patriots, the Bills' offense just absolutely clicked on all cylinders, which the Bills can't say that all season long. I mean, their offense was just in the right spot. They were in the right zone. And yeah, it was a blowout. But at the same time, I mean, this was Mac Jones's first start in the Pro Football Playoffs. So yeah, I can tell he was a little nervous and everything, but
Of course he was.
I mean, the game would have been a lot closer than what it was if Buffalo didn't have the perfect offensive game. Because
That's a great point.
If Buffalo would have had just a little less than stellar offensive game, then the game would have been a lot closer than what it was. But because of the fact that the Bills scored every single time they got their hands on the ball, except for the kneel down right there at the end, I mean, yeah, this game would have been a lot closer than what it was, hands down.
7 drives,
And
7 touchdowns.
And my thing is that this offense, it's more about the Bills' offense because they did that not just against some bottom-feeding defense. They did this against a top 10 defense, a top 5 pass defense in the league. Josh Allen just ripped apart J.C. Jackson, who many consider, and I myself included, considered one of the best 2 or 3 corners in the game. Josh Allen was eating him up. And I love the intensity and the fire up under that defense for the Bills because captain safety Jordan Poyer is the one who he lit him up before the game, watching him mic'd up. He said, man, look here. I'm sick of these mother effers in this all the time. Tonight, we end this dynasty. No more New England. This is about us, and this is our conference to dominate for the rest of the next 10 years. New England's done. Tonight, we put the dagger in their throat, and we end their dynasty now. And, boy, if that didn't light a fire under their ass, and they went out there and they made New England's offense look pitiful.
Absolutely
that
pitiful.
Flying around to the football. And then the offense, I say less. Back to what I said. You vote Lamar Jackson into the Pro Bowl over 2 guys who completely dominated on Wild Card Weekend, and Joe Burrow and Josh Allen is a freaking robbery for crime's sake. It's a freaking robbery, legal robbery of the Pro Bowl. And I'm sorry,
hold on.
disgusting.
Hold on. I'm gonna add some more fuel to the fire here. the Bills. I happened to see this earlier today. They had several categories on defense where they ranked first in the league, and I can't remember exactly what all 5 categories were, but despite the fact that the Bills finished in first in all 5 of those categories on defense, do you know how many defensive players are in the Pro Bowl?
Let me guess. None.
None. And I'm like, what the fuck?
It's a
What the
popularity
actual fuck?
contest, and it shows.
And this is and Kevin, Joey, Ezra, Randy, you guys can vouch for this. Back in the day, the Pro Bowl did not have fans vote on these players. If you had a great season, you got in the Pro Bowl. Like, okay, when Peyton Manning had that 49 touchdown season in 2004, rightly so, he was in the Pro Bowl. Tom Brady, sorry, Randy, 50 touchdowns in 2007, rightly so, voted in the Pro Bowl. You know, but now that these fans have taken over the voting and across all leagues, NBA, NFL, etc., it's a joke.
Don't even get me fucking started on the NBA fucking All-Star Weekend.
It is a joke.
Don't get me started on how much
the Pro Bowl is a joke. The fact that Lamar Jackson was voted in as one of the quarterbacks in the 2022 Pro Bowl, it is a flat out freaking joke. Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, where are those guys advancing into the divisional round? Where is Lamar Jackson in Baltimore? Sitting their asses at home where they deserve to be. I mean,
I agree. But a wise man once said, the coach of the Arizona Cardinals back in the day, they are who we thought they were.
Wise words for Dennis Green.
This is the performance of the Buffalo Bills. They played like we thought they should. That's the Buffalo team that I thought they were all year. They finally got it clicking. And boy, when I tell you they got it clicking, I'm like, that might be the best offense in the NFL right now by far. Just because of how Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs, Emmanuel Sanders, Cole Beasley, Devin Singletary, all those guys, just Darwin Knox.
Isn't it crazy?
It's crazy.
How Josh Allen has made the progressions he has as a professional starting quarterback in the last couple of years. I mean, my God, 3 years ago, this guy was already pretty damn good. But in the last 3 years, he has put together a resume for Buffalo that has been consistent, like the great Jim Kelly, those days in Buffalo in the late 80s and early to mid 90s. And Josh Allen.
And not to mention, this is the same Josh Allen that started out at a junior college and only had one Division I offer to play football, and that was from Wyoming. This is the same Josh Allen who went through that. And back to what back to what you were saying about the Pro Bowl, Stephen. Just real quick, back to what you were saying. Even when the fans couldn't vote to send players to the Pro Bowl, the Pro Bowl was still fucking garbage. It was a big ass waste of time. So I mean, I don't even know why they keep playing this game year after year, because it fucking sucks. What are the conferences paying for? I'll tell you what, nothing.
Nothing.
This game has nothing to prove year after year after year. So why in the fuck is it still being played? That's what I want to know.
But all I'm gonna say is Josh Allen keeps getting. It's like he keeps getting disrespected, and I'm got to be the one to stand up for him and say, hey, I think he might be a top 3 quarterback in this whole league next year by far. I don't care what nobody says. This is the same guy who, sorry ass Mel Kiper. This is why you don't listen to these quote unquote draft experts. Oh, Sam Darnold's going to be 3 times the quarterback. Josh Allen will be. Mark my words. Now, who's eating their words? Josh Allen is a stud, a superstar quarterback, and Sam Darnold's some scrub in Carolina. But
who throws multiple interceptions
and sees ghosts. He's crazy.
You know what? Him and Daniel Jones should get together and play football and see who can trip over their own 2 feet first, and the one who does it first loses.
Yeah.
I will say this much. Though. Despite the loss, I mean, yeah, it was a bad game. But Mac Jones, to me, he's a quarterback who can be the quarterback of the future for New England. He showed it, man. He took a team that was depleted of all of their best players because of everybody moving over to Tampa Bay, losing Tom Brady, losing Gronk, losing Julian Edelman, losing Chris Hogan, and all these great players. And it was basically a depleted team. Mac Jones and company and Bill Belichick took that team, turned it around, and made it into a playoff contender.
And not only that,
that shows. Yeah, go ahead, Steven.
And not only that, the reason why they were also depleted in 2020 was because of Cam Newton.
It took that team. They took that team around, turned it from a team who was barely scraping the bottom of the division to being a playoff contender and going to the wild card. So all the credit in the world to Bill Belichick for once again proving that it wasn't just a quarterback that made the team, that Bill Belichick is one fucking hell of a coach. And also that Mac Jones, he's a kid who we got to watch out for. He really is. All he needs is to fine tool a few things. And I think personally he could be a top tier quarterback in the league. He's already proven he could be on that level in certain games. So to me, I think all he needs is some more fine tooling over the next couple of years. That kid is going to be an absolute threat to any team that faces him. That's just my opinion on that.
And Belichick knows the game of football because he knew that Cam Newton's not the answer to our football team, so he got rid of trash, took him to the dump, and left him there. And then he gets this quarterback, this kid Mac Jones, and this dude is a rookie and had one hell of a year for the Patriots this year and took the team to the playoffs. And there was a couple of times during the season where the Patriots easily could have been AFC East champions, but that didn't happen. That's just the way sometimes, the dice rolls, in these situations. But had a hell of a year for New England.
Absolutely.
I mean, and Ezra, what you just said about Mac Jones, you could say about another hotshot young quarterback who wasn't really seen as much of a threat coming out of college, but ever since he's been in the pros, he's been lighting up defenses all over the place. And you guys might know him. His name is Patrick Mahomes.
Oh yeah, who's that guy again? Oh wait, yeah, that guy.
Yeah,
I've heard of him. We've all heard of him.
Yeah.
But yeah, I definitely agree. Both players absolutely are proving their mettle, proving their worth. I mean, we know Mahomes. Come on, freaking Mahomes champion. He's one of the best. But Mac Jones, I believe he's the quarterback of the future for New England, and he's going to really, really help take that team by storm and really, really prove that they truly are a threat in their division, which they were this season. But we'll see if that trend continues. Let's go on to the next game. Of course, Tampa Bay taking care of business. Philadelphia Eagles, 31-15. Mike Evans, the first player in Tampa Bay history with 100 receiving yards and one receiving touchdown in the playoff game.
Had 117 yards receiving in that game, 9 receptions.
Yep. Absolutely.
Great game.
Yeah, hell of a game for Mike Evans, one of his best performances of the season. Let me tell you, this was basically a slaughter.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, you're putting Tom Brady in a playoff position. That this is bread and butter to him. This is fucking easy. This is light work for him. Jalen Hurts, I mean, he threw 2 picks, had 258 yards, only 1 touchdown. Tom Brady threw less than 300 yards, had 2 TDs. But like I said, if it wasn't for it was Mike Evans, it was Keyshawn Vaughn, Giovanni Bernard. Those guys all with touchdowns. Of course, Gronk getting his 1 touchdown basically per game. It was a stellar performance by Tampa Bay in this one. But they move on. Anybody want to take over here?
I got one thing to say about that, and
yeah,
I'm sorry, but Philadelphia, you didn't belong in the playoffs.
No, not even close.
That's what you call luck of the schedule. Between the Saints being depleted with no quarterback, that was on your side. The fact that you ain't played a team over 500 the last 4 or 5 games in the regular season, that was on your side. And then the fact that Seattle was depleted with the Russell Wilson injury earlier in the year, that was on your side. Because let's keep it real here. If Russell Wilson doesn't get hurt and they play at a high level like they did in the last week of the regular season, we're talking about 4 NFC West teams in the playoffs. We're talking about Seattle at that 7 seed because Seattle is a much better team than the Philadelphia Eagles by far.
Absolutely.
Same way with the New Orleans Saints. If Jameis Winston, the touchdown to interception king, if he plays, they win 1 or 2 more games and get in over the Philadelphia Eagles. It's that simple.
Absolutely. Philadelphia just hit that lucky draw and they got in and they didn't deserve to get in. And I mean, I heard the other day on the Sirius XM radio, Chris Russo was talking about this on his show on Monday. And he said, look, I know we love the game of football, but 7 teams, it's too much. I mean, and when it was 6 teams, the 6th seed was so unpredictable. You had no idea who was going to get that last seed because generally every single time in the last few weeks, you had that 1 seed or maybe the 5th seed at times up for grabs. And, Philadelphia didn't deserve to get in and neither did Pittsburgh. And, just having 7 teams in the playoffs, I mean, it's cool because more football, because, I mean, after all, money talks. But at the same time, the fact that Philadelphia gets in because, they were statistically, it says on the record, better. But let's be honest, we all know that Philadelphia is an average football team. When they got in by the skin of their teeth and they did not deserve to get in.
Well, I definitely agree. I definitely agree with that. I definitely agree that Philadelphia did not belong in the playoffs. What the fuck were they thinking? It's like you said, luck of the schedule. They got scraped by, and Tampa Bay stomped them out. So fly, Eagles, fly out of the fucking playoffs. You got the sea chickens, and then you got the air chickens.
And then Philadelphia's going to be under the sea.
Oh, I can't believe you just made an Aladdin reference.
Actually, that's a Little
Mermaid.
Little Mermaid, Aladdin, it's all Disney, anyways.
But anyway. Should we call the Eagles the air chickens, or should we call the Cardinals the air chickens?
Oh.
They're both birds.
No, I'm going to call the Cardinals just straight dumpster trash.
We'll get a dive momentarily.
I'm not sure. I know it's skipping games or whatever. But I'm not sure if I was watching the Arizona Cardinals or the St. Louis Cardinals play football. I'm not sure.
Wait a minute. Okay, if that was the St. Louis Cardinals, well, then they wouldn't have been open for business because St. Louis has absolutely nothing open up in that fucking city. There you go.
So, you know what? Speaking of dumpster fires, let's move on to the next game, shall we?
Oh, no, Lord.
I am going to go last, so do not call on me until the very last, please. Please.
So don't call you. So you're gonna be a last. Yeah, just like the Cowboys.
Yeah.
It's also just like Green Bay fans after their team gets slaughtered next week.
Please, football gods. I'm praying.
Please, football gods, help me out. Make me the happiest Bears fan on the planet. But no, seriously, the 49ers squeaked by Dallas 23-17, but it was a good game for San Fran. Their first postseason road win versus Dallas in team history. They were previously 0-2. Some of the stats real quick before we start off with the overall description of the game. Jimmy G, 172 yards, no touchdowns on 16-25 and 1 pick. But their rushing game, Elijah Mitchell, 27 carries for 96 yards and a touchdown. Deebo Samuel, once again, 10 carries, 72 yards, and a touchdown himself. But no passing touchdowns at all. I'm gonna go to Kevin first. And the question I'm gonna pose to you is two of the things. Number one, how the fuck did Dallas lose? Number two, how the fuck did the 49ers squeak by this with no passing TDs at all?
I'm gonna give you different answers here. I'll let you rave. I'll let Joey and y'all rant and ramp on the Cowboys because they deserve to be ramped on. But that just goes to show you how dominant Kyle Shanahan's run system is. It don't matter what you're doing. This is the same team, for God's sakes, that won the NFC Championship game in 2019, who looked at Aaron Rodgers and said, hey, we're only going to throw the ball 6 times. We're just going to run the whole game and beat you 40-something to 17. And what happened? Same way here. They said, we're just going to run the ball, and our defense is number 3 in the league in defense. We're going to stop. We're going to shut you down. And that's what they did. Now, people like ranting and raving about, the Cowboys should have scored this. Cowboys should have scored that. Why ain't the Cowboys didn't perform? How about a lot to do with that was they played the number 2 overall pass defense in the NFL and the number 3 total defense in the NFL in the San Francisco 49ers. Watching that game, that offensive line looked pathetic trying to block Nick Bosa, Eric Armstead, Arden Key, guys like that, Samson Ebicon. And then the linebackers were just teeing off on Zeke, who couldn't even get more than 5 yards to carry. He couldn't even carry the ball for a first down in that game. Why? Fred Warner was popping them. Dre Greenlaw was laying them out. And then the secondary, and I got to give credit to DeMeco Ryans. Like, when he first came in this as a rookie defensive coordinator, one of the greatest Philadelphia Eagles linebackers of all time, might I add. But he came in this year as a rookie defensive coordinator, was previous our linebacker coach. Once the great Robert Saleh, who has been great on defense, left for the Jets head coaching job, DeMeco Ryans came in, and there was so many questions. Oh, is it going to be the same defense? I think this defense is going to give up tons and tons of yards. In the first 3 or 4 weeks, we did. But that didn't faze DeMeco. He said, you know what? We're going to get back to what we do. We're going to do stunts up front. We're going to put pressure on the quarterback. We're going to stop the run, fix our run defense, and just tee off on the quarterback. And that's what they done against the Dallas Cowboys. Dak Prescott looked pitiful. He looked scared. Every time he turned around, Nick Bosa was coming for him. Jimmy Ward out the secondary. They called great blitzes. DeMeco Ryans, he disguised so many coverages in that game. It was beautiful. As a former linebacker itself, I loved watching that coverage. You think they were blitzing, and what happened? Nope. Everybody dropped back in coverage and had Dak confused trying to throw out routes and missing horribly. Or, they think they're going to pull out. What happens on 4th and long? Jimmy Ward right up the middle. He gets in his grill, causes an erratic throw to turn the ball over on downs. Great defense. People don't want to talk about that. They just want to talk about how the Cowboys collapse. But rightfully so, I still got to say, the Cowboys are one of the most poorly coached teams in the NFL. All that talent. For one, you got Mike fucking McCarthy, who's the biggest choke artist coach in the NFL, coming from Green Bay. Can't do nothing for up 10 plus years with the Packers. But the fact that the Cowboys had 14 penalties, rightfully 14 penalties, I might add. None of those penalties were wrong. There was no bad calls in that game. The refs called a perfect game to me. I really believe that. Because every penalty Dallas got called for, I mean, it was clearly a penalty. They didn't argue it. They're poorly coached. They're undisciplined. And it went to show that an undisciplined team, when playing a Kyle Shanahan disciplined offense, you're going to get beat every time. If it wasn't for Jimmy G turning the ball over, we're talking about a blowout. I'm sorry. We're talking about a game that probably would have ended 31-10 because Dallas wasn't going to score no more if they didn't get that interception. That was a big momentum shift to make things interesting at the end. But we're talking about a Niners team who, in my eyes, they remind me of the 2007 New York Giants just because of their inconsistent quarterback play, but he's still clutch when he has to be. A great defense who can tee off on the quarterback, and a team that's getting a run game in January. Look out. This team's dangerous, and I've been trying to tell everybody that for the past 10 weeks.
Good points, Kevin. Excellent.
Randy?
Yeah, hey, I'm only mad at. There's only one thing I'm really mad about on that game, is I was out of it because of with COVID and everything, and here I thought that that the game was only on Nickelodeon. I watched that game on Nickelodeon for a whole half. Whole half.
The same
said-
channel as fucking Rugrats, Ren and Stimpy, Paw Patrol, and freaking whatever crappy ass show from today's era. But they put a football game on there. They must have been desperate for viewers, so they decided to get
I don't know
They
what's
decided,
going on.
especially for Cowboys fans, to get the 3 to 5 year old demographic.
I mean, the Cowboys. It ended up being perfect for them because I saw at the end they showed like little things that they put on Mike McCarthy's face to make him sad and whatnot when he lost and everything. So it kind of worked out. But it was a game like they kept showing the back and forth and throughout history of those two franchises. You know, the Joe Montana pass, the I can't remember who.
To Dwight Clark in the
Dwight
NFC
Clark,
Championship game.
They show that. They show all the other all the old history and all that stuff. And you know, that game was way closer than it should have been. Like Kevin said, you know, the 49ers should have absolutely annihilated them. Credit to Cowboys for even sticking around that long, and they're just undisciplined. I think they're just going by their talent. You know, they know they have the talent, and they just go by like you were like Kevin was saying. You know, you don't just take the ball and sit it down and then pick it up and play it like you're in the backyard. That's what they play like. They play like they're just backyard guys. You know, and that's how they're coached. You know, like he's got a player and he's putting it in his hand. Okay, you go here, you go there.
They were using Steve's trusty notebook from fucking Blue's Clues.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's what they were doing. See? That's why they were on Nickelodeon.
The handy dandy notebook. There you go.
Oh God! Oh, you just knocked the fucking breath out of me with that. Oh my God!
That's my take. I'll let you off on
Oh, Lord have mercy.
this.
Oh no, I forgot. Hey guys, I forgot to add something too.
Yeah.
Not to mention
Uh-oh.
watching film like every week, trying to because I'm interested in the game. But
Right.
Trayvon Diggs has got burned over 10 times in that game. Jimmy Garoppolo overthrew 5 times. Ayuk would have had a 50, 60-yard game every time he got the ball, but Jimmy overthrew him. Any competent quarterback that was playing hot, Aaron Rodgers don't miss that throw. That's a touchdown. That's 2 touchdowns left on the board because Jimmy couldn't deliver the ball. That's horrible play. I've been critical of Jimmy, and then I've been high on Jimmy, and then I've been critical on Jimmy. This is one of them critical on Jimmy games where I'm just like, not to mention, like I said in the pre-show, that fault at the end, the Cowboys shouldn't even had to go down the field and with that ball and bullshit like that, because if Jimmy lets Trent Williams get set on that 4th and inches, the game's over. That quarterback sneak would have ended the game. But what a horrible play call by everyone's so-called offensive coordinator genius and Kellen Moore. We're going to run a quarterback draw with 14 seconds left. Good job,
no timeouts.
genius. And no timeouts. And then if you're going to do that, at least have the balls to say, hey, Dak, get down. Even though you can get to the 25, how about get down at the 35? That way we got time to clock it. And then when you don't clock it, you just put the ball down. They should have done what we called the Larry Fitzgerald play. Back in the day, Larry Fitzgerald, when a play like that happens, he snatches the ball up, he runs and finds the official and says here and wait and rushes them to clock the ball. That way they can spike it. Works every time. Dallas said, nope, we're playing backyard football. Put the fucking ball down and block the ref out from getting to the ball. Good job, Dallas.
You know, with this game, I have to say before I get on to my thoughts on this game, I want to thank Nickelodeon for showing this game. You want to know why, gentlemen? Because it's going to teach those kids, hey, kids, if you want to be a great professional football team and player, a part of a team, don't make boneheaded decisions like the Dallas Cowboys did with 14 seconds left, thinking you're playing backyard football, because Nickelodeon had, you know what? The football gods blessed us with a great teachings from the book of how to play football, because the Dallas Cowboys in that game coached themselves to losing with their play calling. But on to the game before we get to the ending of the game. San Francisco, first of all, on that defensive side of the ball, played excellent. They were swarming to Prescott, swarming to Zeke. Zeke could not get going in that game. He was so pitiful. And Prescott was held in check for the most part during that game. CeeDee Lamb had one catch in that fourth quarter that was wiped out because of a penalty. And, just San Francisco for the majority of this game played lights out football. And Garoppolo, man, Kevin, that was an excellent point by you. But San Francisco is saying that they remind you of the football giants from 2007, because Garoppolo, when he's clutch, he's clutch. When he's solid, he's solid. There's times where he's good, and then there's times where he throws that ugly pick. You're like, come on, Garoppolo, get it together, man. But San Francisco, man, that defense was just lethal. And Deebo Samuel, man, that dude is just incredible. He is just such a very versatile player. Throwing the ball, catching the ball, running the ball, all that stuff. Just a great player for that football team. And they ran the ball excellent during that game, and their defense was great. And now on to the fun part. That's the Dallas Cowboys. The Dallas Cowboys had 14 penalties for 89 yards. And I saw, just like you did, Kevin, on Facebook, and you did too, Joey, these Cowboy fans on Facebook were bitching and complaining that, this is an unfair officiated game. Are you kidding me? If you know the game of football, you can't be making stupid decisions like the Dallas Cowgirls did. I mean, I'm sorry, Cowboys did in that game, because they were screwing up potential San Francisco drives of stopping in the fourth quarter. And the times they could have gotten off the field on their defense, flag, penalty, holding, 5 yards, pass interference, 15 yards, spotted the foul, first downs, you get the point. Dallas made critical errors on that defensive end. And if Garoppolo didn't throw that pick, the game would have been a fucking blowout. It's simple as that. And San Francisco outplayed Dallas for 3/4 of this game. And now let's get on to the fun part. 14 seconds left in the fourth freaking quarter. You mean to tell me that Mike McCarthy and that jerk-off Moore called that quarterback draw with no timeouts? Are you kidding me? If you had a timeout or two, okay, I understand to call the quarterback draw, because you could run the ball, get it down to, if you have a timeout, whatever, that's fine. But the fact that they took that risk, ran the play, got it in, ran the play, and Prescott, we keep on saying this and we'll keep saying it, he ran too far and too long and took a few more seconds off than what he should have. He should have stopped at the 35-yard line so he can go to the referee and get them to spike spot the ball and all that stuff. And you know what? There was a meme on Facebook that we were talking about before the show, before we went live. That was the offensive line blocked all freaking game, because they blocked the referee spotting the damn ball. So congratulations, Dallas. You coach yourself out of the playoffs for making stupid, boneheaded decisions, and you deserve to lose that game. You did not deserve to be within the reach of that game, because if they would have coached a better football game, especially in that fourth quarter, maybe Dallas would have had a chance to win that game. But San Francisco, man, should have never let Dallas get back in that game. I mean, and the fact that Prescott in the press conference was saying that when the reporter was asking him, what were your thoughts on the fans throwing water bottles and trash onto the football field? He thought and he said, kudos to them. You're condoning your fans for trashing your football stadium? That is not what a leader does. If a quarterback of the football team is supposed to be the leader of the football team, then he should say, hey, we appreciate the passion from you guys, but you should not be trashing the football field when stuff doesn't go our way or when we lose the game like that. They should have done that, and it was just stupid Dallas. You know what? Dallas, you've only won 4 playoff games in 25 years. You deserve to be sitting home, rightly so, on your couches watching the Green Bay Packers and the San Francisco 49ers in the divisional round. And let's be honest, if Dallas made the divisional round, they wouldn't have gone far, even further, even if they made the championship game. Because Dallas, we knew, was going to find a way to do Dallas Cowboy things and that screw the game up, and that's what they did. So congratulations, Dallas. You're out of there.
Right. Joe, the floor is yours.
All right, so I'm gonna start off by saying what I said right at the beginning of the show. How about them Cowboys? But seriously though, before I get to my rant, I gotta say the Niners, they played one absolute hell of a game. Deebo Samuel, once again, I mean, there's not much you can say about there's not much you can say about the kid other than the fact that he is an absolute offensive weapon, like Kevin said the other week. I mean, Deebo can do it all. He can pass, he can run, he can catch, he can block, he can do whatever the living hell he wants to because he is just that good of a player. Now, about Dallas. As a Washington fan, you had better believe that I was doing my research when it comes to Dallas. And I got several key notes as to why they lost this game. First off, you got a fucking quarterback who can put up a decent game every now and then, but you got a fucking quarterback who doesn't know how to call his own damn plays. You got a wide receiver unit that doesn't know a slant. A wide receiver core that doesn't know a slant route from a deep route, for crying out loud. You got a fucking head coach who got his ass run out of Green Bay because he couldn't win a playoff game to save his life. You got a fucking offensive coordinator who doesn't know how to call a correct play when you see one. And most importantly, you got a washed up, has-been running back who started out as a cheerleader in the longest yard. I mean, for crying out loud, Zeke is not that good of a running back. He never
Joey,
has.
I heard he's still taking donations from the Salvation Army.
Never has been, never will be. And Dak Prescott, my God. Oh, and let's not forget the best part about Dallas. They have a fucking owner who doesn't, actually, let me put it to you this way. They have an owner who cannot run a team out of a wet fucking paper sack. It's that simple. Jerry Jones, he messed up big time whenever he first took office and fired Tom Landry. I mean, Tom Landry, whenever he was a Dallas coach, he actually took Dallas places. He did. But what has Jerry Jones done as far as getting head coaches ever since he fired Landry? Let's take a look. You got Dave Campo, who fucking sucked ass for 3 or 4 years. You got Bill Parcells, who was more worried about keeping T.O. out of practice than coaching a team himself. You got Jason Garrett, who...
Oh, God.
Hey, wait. Who the fuck is Jason Garrett? Oh, yeah. Absolutely. I don't know who he is because, well, he's not a head coach, much less an offensive coordinator for crying out loud. And now you got Mike McCarthy, the so-called savior from Green Bay, who guided Aaron Rodgers and the Packers to one Super Bowl, thinking you could bring him in, revitalize this Dallas offense and defense, and thinking that, Mike McCarthy may give us a Super Bowl within 2 to 3 years. Wrong. Because, yeah, Mike McCarthy did win a Super Bowl with the Packers, but that was 11 years ago. 11 years ago. So, I mean, like you said, Steven, congratulations, Dallas, on being the worst playoff team in NFL history. You suck for the past 25 years, winning 4 playoff games in that 25-year span. And based on the unit that you have right now, y'all ain't gonna win another playoff game in the next 20 years.
Joey,
So-
I have one question for you. Do you think that what got Mike McCarthy hired is when Jerry Jones popped up? And I know Ezra, Kevin, and Randy, and you, Joey, might get this. I think Jerry Jones put on those Save Us videos that were playing when Chris Jericho made his return to the WWE in 2007, because they said, oh, Mike McCarthy is the savior of the Dallas Cowboys organization, because we haven't been absolute shits. We've been terrible for 25 years. I'm telling you, I'm making the proclamation that Mike McCarthy is going to save us from the bottom of the barrel and take us to the Super Bowl that we haven't seen since Super Bowl 30 in 1996.
No, Steve, you got it wrong. You got it wrong.
What?
I know what they were thinking when they hired Mike McCarthy. A wise man, Stone Cold Steve Austin, once said,
What?
No, listen. Jerry Jones had 1 beer, 2 beer,
What?
3 beer,
What?
4 beer,
What?
a margarita, a Bloody Mary, more beer. And
What?
he was drunk off his ass when he hired that damn sorry ass Mike McCarthy.
Absolutely. God. And I got to say one more thing, and then my rant will be over. Just one more thing real quick. Since Dallas has a crappy organization, a crappy coach, crappy offensive coordinator, crappy defensive coordinator, and a crappy owner. Let's see. I'm trying to see how I can end this. Oh yeah. Jerry Jones and the Dallas Cowboys organization. Do you know what happens when you build a team up in the regular season every year? Do you know what happens when you choke in the playoffs when you're supposed to? Dallas Cowboy organization, you just made the list.
Jerry Jones is a fucking skeleton wearing a suit walking around the Cowboys stadium.
Yes, Steven, did you like that?
Yes.
Oh, Jesus. I got one joke to end this.
Go ahead. I know what you're going to go with, too.
So this strictly came from a Cowboy fan himself and said, when I die, I want Dak, Zeke, and the coaching staff to be my pallbearer so they can let me down one more time.
That's it.
Oh, boy. We let down every
When
time.
you said that
It's
joke
about-
to us on the pre-show, we all literally were dying when you said
Oh, boy.
There's about 4 of those a year in Cleveland.
Oh.
There's about 4 of those a year.
Oh, God.
Oh, Jesus.
That's what LeBron James experienced against the Golden State Warriors most of the time. Oops, sorry.
I'm watching Impact Wrestling, and Mickey James is wearing a Dallas Cowboys shirt. And
Ew.
you know, I'm a fan of what she's wearing, but that's about it. just that. She can wear whatever she wants. But
Yeah. Don't
You
worry.
some hardcore country.
Don't worry about that. Don't worry about being let down by Dallas. I mean, I don't know what's more of a letdown, Dallas Cowboys or the Metallica Lulu album.
Ooh.
I think we'll let Mr. Orrick answer that question.
Oh, absolutely. The Dallas Cowboys are a shitty team. Go
Hey.
49ers.
Hey, at this point, I can count on the Lions, the Jets, the Jaguars, and the Panthers to all win playoff games before Dallas does
No.
it
Let's
again.
No. Let's not get too carried away.
Yeah, let's not get hasty here on that, Joe. All right, that's enough trashing the Cowboys for one season. Let's move on to the next game because we got one more game to cover. Then we got to get to our score predictions, and we got some NBA news to get to as well, concerning some injuries and of course some big games. Let's go ahead and let's move on to the final game of this playoff of this wild card run, and that is
two more games.
Well, yeah, 2 are. Yeah, let's get to those games. Chiefs and the Steelers. Chiefs beat the Steelers 42-21 in what is more than likely Big Ben's final game as a professional football player.
Yeah, you know what? I just got one thing to say about the Chiefs Steelers game.
What?
Have a nice retirement, Big Ben.
Yeah.
I got one thing to say about that game.
Have a nice retirement.
But there's also one other thing I got to say. 3 words. Travis fucking Kelce.
Yep.
First player in NFL history with a passing touchdown, a receiving touchdown, and 100-plus receiving yards in a playoff game.
Besides Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce was the best quarterback in the game, not Roethlisberger.
Nope.
Yeah, Big Ben needs to just call it a career and just sit home.
Because Najee Harris was the one who was getting the touchdowns for Pittsburgh. I mean, Big Ben, I think he got like 1 score, but Najee Harris, I think, got the other 2. So
and Harris also had his first fumble.
Yeah.
In that game.
Did.
And that game, I had a feeling Kansas City was going to blow them out, and they did. And it took Kansas City a little while to get going.
Hold on, Steven. Actually, Najee Harris didn't score any touchdowns.
Oh.
Yeah, actually, the 2 touchdowns were 2 passing touchdowns from Big Ben, and they were to James Washington and Deontay Johnson.
Yes.
Oh.
So,
still.
During that game, I mean, it took Kansas City a little while to get in the game. And when T.J. Watt scored that fumble recover touchdown, I'm like, okay, that's a nice play from Pittsburgh. But I'm like, it's going to take a little bit for Kansas City to get going. And once they did, they did. I mean, Patrick Mahomes he was doing Patrick Mahomes things, and he threw 5 touchdowns in the game, and Travis Kelce, had that 48-yard touchdown reception from Mahomes, and Tyreek Hill and Hardman and Pringle and all those guys, lighting up that Steelers defense. And here's another issue with Pittsburgh during this game. Their defense during the first half was playing, pretty good, but the offense was just stopping. They were not going anywhere. They were just being stagnated, and not. It's like moving into oncoming traffic, and that's the way Pittsburgh was just playing, and Roethlisberger missing passes, the offensive line not blocking, Harris fumbling the ball, not getting any lanes to run, through holes to get, good yardage, all that stuff. And just Kansas City, ever since Melvin Ingram has came to that team, he has lit that Kansas City defense on fire and told them, hey, if we're going to get back to the Super Bowl, especially with me going to my first Super Bowl, then we're going to have to start playing better. And Kansas City's defense has been playing better. And Pittsburgh did not belong in this playoff chase to the Super Bowl. I mean, come on. I mean, again, we keep going back to it, but the Chargers, Brandon Staley should have not called that timeout, and Pittsburgh would have been sitting their asses at home just like the Dallas Cowboys are right now, and just Roethlisberger did not play great. The offensive line didn't play great. The wide receivers were inconsistent. The defense was getting tired during that second quarter and early on in that third quarter. And just, you knew the game was over. But, in all seriousness, I mean, Big Ben had one hell of a career, and had all those great years with Pittsburgh, 3 Super Bowls, winning 2, because, hey, 2 out of 3 ain't bad. And, just the way Roethlisberger has played throughout the majority of his career. I mean, 5,000 yards a couple of seasons ago with Pittsburgh, and just a great career, and, even though I never was a Pittsburgh fan, but I've always respected Roethlisberger's craft as a quarterback. I mean, the guy just a credible athlete, and he's going to be deeply missed, from the football world, playing the game of football. But Big Ben, it's time for you to retire, buddy. Sit home and just be happy with the career that you've had in the National Football League.
Absolutely. Big Ben is one of the best of his time, a great quarterback, tough as nails. He fought through so many injuries. It was ridiculous. A guy with ankle injuries, knee injuries, arm injuries. The guy played his heart out. And
you know who he reminds me of? He reminded me of the late great Kobe Bryant, because Big Ben, no matter what injuries Ben had, he wanted to play. Kobe, when he played during his 20 years in the NBA, Kobe, no matter what injuries he had with the Lakers, he always wanted to play because he loved playing the game of basketball, just like Big Ben loved playing the game of football.
Absolutely. Got to give a shout out to a couple people in the chat right now, and that is, of course, Cole 2K, our buddy from the Busted Open from our Nation's Quarter Discord, and none other than Trenda. Of course,
Trend.
Of course, Trenda, our buddy, of course, from the Nation's Quarter as well. And quick shout out to those two for being in the chat with us. Thank you very much. Anybody else have any thoughts on the Kansas City Pittsburgh game before we move on to the final one? All right. Let's go ahead and move on to this final game. And that is the Rams taking out the Cardinals 34-11. It's the big picture in this, Matt Stafford's first career win in postseason.
Oh,
Kevin, you want to start this one off?
yeah. I'm not going to hate on Stafford, but in all reality, he's not nowhere. I can list 10 reasons why they won before I can list Matt Stafford as one. I'm just saying. I mean, you got a guy who I think deserves a nod for comeback player of the year, even though it's kind of too late. Cam Akers, less than 6 months after rupturing his Achilles, which is a year-long injury, by the way, rushed for almost 100 yards and dominated the game. That defense with Aaron Donald was ferocious on the Arizona Cardinals. Like they dominated both sides of the line of scrimmage. And Matt Stafford was kind of cruising along like, yeah, I'm just going to let Odell Beckham throw a pass. Oh, I'm like, oh, dear Jesus. That's how I know this was a joke. But my thing is, and here's my take on it, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised it was this bad of a beatdown or one and done for the Arizona Cardinals, because history repeats itself. And looking at Cliff Kingsbury, he's not a good coach for Arizona. No. Looking at the stats, diving deep into it, there's been 4 or 5 seasons going back to college and high school and all this, and even in the NFL, where he started out 6-0, 5-1, 7-2, and he ends with like a 5-5 record, 5-6, 4-2, 4-4. Like he's like, people figure him out and they adjust to him, and he don't know how to handle it, and he starts losing. And let me put this out here for you, for everybody who needs to know. At Texas Tech University, Cliff Kingsbury was 5-7 with Patrick Mahomes as his starting quarterback. What does that tell you about him being a head coach? I'm just saying. And to watch him implode this year, it was the inevitable. Like, I knew it was going to happen. I said, okay, yeah, they're undefeated now, but watch what happens. You go out there, the Rams beat your ass on Monday Night Football. You come back, the Rams beat your ass again. And then to put the icing on the cake, they lose DeAndre Hopkins for the rest of the year, who's been the only thing that's bailed Cliff Kingsbury's ass out multiple times. And Kyler Murray, who came up a little short. Yeah.
Hey, Kevin, what about those talks there, pal? Kyler Murray, MVP. What happened to that Kyler Murray? He showed up doing nothing in this game.
Nothing.
I mean, and everybody during September and October was like, oh, they're 7-0. They're playing great football. Cliff Kingsbury is not the answer to the Arizona Cardinals. And I knew Arizona was figured out when Green Bay beat them for their first loss on Thursday Night Football in that game. And Kyler Murray threw to nobody on that final drive. He was throwing to AJ Green, but AJ Green was not paying attention, looking for the football. If you look for the football, dude, maybe you would have caught the touchdown.
Yep.
Nope. That's on
I
your head coach.
still stand on my statement that I made during this show back in August, September, when we were previewing the NFC West. I still stand on it. The two best teams in the NFC West are the Los Angeles Rams and the San Francisco 49ers. Anybody want to argue that does not know football, because where is Arizona sitting at? Their ass is sitting at home while the Rams and the 49ers are playing for a spot in the NFC title game.
And both teams are in the spot playing where they're at right now because they have better coaches and better coaching staffs. Arizona is inconsistent. And I remember when Arizona was going on that losing streak and they were losing 3 in a row, 4 in a row. I'm like, they're not the team that people thought they were, because we knew that Arizona was not going to be a Super Bowl contending team. It was just a matter of time before they got bounced out of the playoffs, which was, quicker, for them. And fortunately, for their fans, that they don't have to suffer, going for, further. And I mean, just this game was crazy because the fact Stafford, was he good at times? Yes, but it was like you said, Kevin, he was on cruise control. Oh, I'm going 65 miles per hour, whatever, no traffic, But in this upcoming, game against Tampa Bay, it's going to be a different story. It's going to be a close game, and we're going to get to that, once we get to that, but just the fact that the Cardinals were just so up and down the rest of the season. And then during this game, the play calls that Kingsbury had for this team were doing them no favors. Kyler Murray throwing balls that were not even close to receivers, offensive linemen not making the right assignments, defensive players not making the right adjustments and all that. Because you figured, the game was kind of close in the first half. But then when it got to the second half, it was lights out. It was done. Just no contest. Honestly, it's not surprising. It was hard picking that game last week because you're like, do I trust Matthew Stafford, who didn't win a playoff game at the time, or do I want to go with the Cardinals? Yeah, most of us picked the Cardinals, but we all did good with our predictions last week. But it's not surprising that Arizona lost because they're not a consistent team and they're not a consistent ran organization, and they probably never will be.
Exactly, and it was a complete and utter domination by the Rams on both sides of the ball. They made Kyler Murray look like a fool. They made Odell Beckham seem like the best thing since sliced bread because of all the plays that he made. But
once
that's all
again,
I'm gonna say.
that OBJ pass was better than Kyler Murray's passes during the entire game. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, it was.
Jeez.
It was, but
Yep.
I do want to say, when Arizona was undefeated, #1 in the NFC, and they went on their late season collapse and barely got into the playoffs and got their butts kicked in the first round of the playoffs. Haven't we seen this before? Oh yeah, we saw it last year with the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Oh yeah, that's right, against Cleveland. The greatest shit show on earth.
We saw this exact same thing last year with Pittsburgh. Started undefeated, #1 in the AFC. They went on a losing streak, barely got in the playoffs, and got their asses beat. Nice job, Arizona, for following Pittsburgh's storyline. Great job, Arizona.
Very good creative, boss. Yes.
All right. Let's this is pretty much it for that. Let's go ahead and before we get to the score predictions for next week's divisional playoffs, a couple quick news notes. The San Francisco 49ers are, according to a report, are poised to have back Jimmy Garoppolo, Fred Warner, and Nick Bosa all ready to go against Green Bay.
Oh my!
Green Bay also, it's also announced that Green Bay will have activated Randall Cobb off the injury reserve, and he's expected to play as well.
Well, as Adam Sandler once said,
what
they do.
Also, ain't gonna make much of a difference.
Also, this is also the decision on Derrick Henry will be made tomorrow, as far as if he'll play. So, yep, that's also big news. this news broke an hour ago, in that the Houston Texans had completed an interview for the head coaching position with Josh McCown.
Oh my God.
Hey, I'm going to start applying for a head coaching job out there.
Who, for the Dallas Cowboys?
Hell no. I'll go take the Bears job.
No. Kevin. You
Please,
should have
please, you'll be a better head coach than half the Bears coaches over the past 10 years.
Oh, shit.
Kevin will get this because he did it on
You'll be
Madden.
better than
Kevin,
Lovie Smith. You'll be better
Oh,
than
no. What, Steven?
you should be the freaking coach. Sorry, can't think of his name, but the guy from the Detroit Lions. You should take over as the guy for the Detroit Lions. Maybe
Dan
not
Campbell.
the head coach. Maybe not the head coach, but the GM. You will be a better GM running the Detroit Lions to infinity and beyond than Mike McCarthy is going to be the savior of the Dallas freaking Cowboys.
I mean,
What do you want me to
especially
do, Steven? Cut the salary cap off?
Hey,
Salary cap, just
I
say.
mean, if you were to
All right, there,
become
Tom
a
Brady.
GM,
I'm gonna give you a 5-year, $295 million contract. Come play with it.
All right, Debo
Hey,
Samuel, I'm going to
What
give
is
you
this
100.
fucking Major League Baseball? What do
Hey, Kevin,
you think Tom Brady? At least Tom Brady will be worth it. Unlike Giancarlo Stanton. Oh, did I say that?
Oh,
Give that fucking scrub $325 million and he hasn't done shit.
hey,
Anyways,
it's almost like it's almost like when the Yankees gave A-Rod that 13-year, $252 million deal.
Down the drain it went.
waste of fucking money. Anyways, yeah, Josh McCown as a
Oh,
head.
wait. Why are y'all clowning the Yankees? Hold on. Be easy on them. They've had a rough week. Listen. They've had a rough week. The Lakers are on a 3-game losing streak. The Dallas Cowboys got put out this playoffs. The Yankees are having a hard time right now. Yankee fans are having a hard time in this world.
Hard times.
Well, yeah, they're Yankees fans to begin with. That's having a hard time being a Yankees fan. But,
I don't know who's having a hard time. Yankee fans are the fact that Russell Westbrook got benched in the fourth fucking quarter. Down by 7.
Hey, hold on, guys. Hold on. We're gonna get into all of that. We haven't even done our score predictions yet.
I know.
We're getting ahead of the game here. Let's see. One other note. Also, speaking of Dak Prescott, he was fined $25,000 for his comments related to the game officials after their loss.
As he should, cow bum.
Really, Steven?
Yes.
Cow shit.
Fucking Dave Grohl ripoff. Anyways, let's move on. Here we go. Let's go straight to it. Usually I do the scores for the week, but we'll get to that before we get into the NBA talk, which we will talk about Westbrook get benched along with some other couple news notes on that as well. Here we go, guys. Let's do it. Divisional playoff time. And we start off with the first game of the week on Saturday, which is, of course, the Bengals and the Titans at Nissan Stadium in Nashville.
Ooh.
Oh, man.
That's a tricky one because it could go here. It could go two ways. If the Titans are able to run the ball similar to the 49er style, then the Titans could control the game. But if Joe Burrow comes out slinging the ball, the Titans ain't going to be able to run the ball. And I'm going to go Cincinnati here. I think they come out and score 14 fast points, and the Titans get away from trying to run the ball with or without Henry. So give me the Bengals. I'm going to go 28-26.
Ooh. Okay.
Close game.
Next.
I'll go. I'll say.
All right.
I'm
All
sorry.
right. Go ahead,
I'm
Randy.
sorry. I think it's going to be a good game. If Derrick Henry can play, it's going to be one of the better games of the weekend. But I think Tennessee is going to pull it out because the one thing that out of that Raiders game I noticed too is they really don't have too many guys on defense in Cincinnati. That they have a couple guys, but I think that Tennessee will exploit that, and I think I say 2017 Titans will pull it out.
Hmm.
Maybe just a little more, maybe a little higher score if Henry plays, but I think they'll still win.
It's gonna be
Fine,
it's gonna be a close one. It really
Yeah.
is. It's
I'll
gonna
go.
be. Go
I'll
ahead.
go ahead and go next with this one.
Okay.
I mean, the Titans, they do have a great team, but I mean, when you got Derrick Henry, who is literally the main offensive weapon for Tennessee, Ryan Tannehill, he'll give you a couple of good games there now and then. But when you got Derrick Henry on the offensive side of the ball going up against Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, Joe Mixon, and T. Higgins, yeah, if Derrick Henry plays, it's gonna be a good game. It's gonna be a good close game. But even if he doesn't play, it's still gonna be a close game. But I gotta side with Kevin here. I'm going with Cincinnati in this one. Cincinnati has too many weapons on the offensive side of the ball. They have a defense that can pretty much shut down Tennessee if they want to. So give me Cincinnati in this one. I'm gonna go 31-24.
Okay.
Oh, I gotta go. I gotta go. Tennessee. I'm gonna go Tennessee on this one. 28-24.
Okay. The tough one.
Yeah, so Steven, you're the tiebreaker because it's 2-2 right now.
2-2. Okay. This is an interesting game because this game honestly reminds me of the Chiefs Titans AFC Championship game from 2019. Because the fact that Derrick Henry is an unstoppable weapon when he is healthy. Now, if he does come back, he still can be dangerous because you still take him into accountability of being a dominant weapon on that field, even though he hasn't played in several weeks. But like the Kansas City game with all those weapons that they had on offense, they're not on that Super Bowl winning team in 2019. I honestly think Cincinnati has more firepower because honestly, I don't think Ryan Tannehill can win in a shootout against Joe Burrow in Cincinnati because Ryan Tannehill, if that offensive line is not blocking for him and they're missing their assignments, Ryan Tannehill is a very up and down quarterback. So with that being said, I'm breaking the tie and I'm going to go with Cincinnati winning this game 28-27.
Oh. Okay.
Oh wow. Okay. All right. That's it's gonna be a hell of a game this weekend. I'm excited for it, man.
Me too.
And then next game on that Saturday doubleheader, San Francisco 49ers and Green Bay at Lambeau Field.
Frigid Lambeau Field, if we may add.
Yeah, frigid. Yeah, it's gonna be extremely cold this weekend.
And for me, this is no brainer. I'm going with San Francisco to beat Green Bay.
Oh,
No brainer. Why am I going to pick Aaron Rodgers when Aaron Rodgers hasn't been consistent in the playoffs since they went to the Super Bowl in Super Bowl 45 when they beat Pittsburgh by 6? There is, you know what? Like Vince McMahon said to Steve Austin when he was the number one overall entry in the Rumble in 99, Green Bay has no chance in hell winning a playoff game with Aaron Rodgers with the number 1 seed. There are 3 things in life that are guaranteed: death, taxes, and Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers in the number 1 seed position will choke at the home field in Lambeau, frigid Lambeau Field. They'll be trapped under ice, dying to live. That's why I'm picking San Francisco to win in this game in a blowout. Yes, I said it. A fucking blowout. 45-21.
Wow.
I do not trust Green Bay. That defense is going to light them up like a Christmas tree on broad daylight in New York City.
wow.
Well, I'm actually gonna try to follow that up. But first, I'm gonna say there are actually 4 guaranteed things in life, Steven. You missed one.
What?
Death. I said there's death, taxes, a Dallas Cowboys playoff choke, and
Yes.
and a Green Bay playoff choke as the number 1 seed. So yeah, there's 4 guaranteed things in life.
Because let's be honest, if San Francisco follows that same script that they beat Green Bay, I believe it was 55-17 in the championship game in 2019. They ran the ball down their throats, and they have a better running game than Green Bay has a consistent game as a full football team.
Yeah.
Yeah, I am actually not going to go that far with it being a blowout. I mean, yeah, Green Bay tends to choke when they are the number 1 seed, but at the same time, Green Bay, even though they end up on the short end of the stick numerous times with them being the number 1 seed, they always tend to make it a close game. They always
For
do
the
tend
most part.
Yeah, for the most part. Now, when the 49ers beat them 37-20 one time, I think that was the game 2 years ago in the NFC
Regular
Championship.
season, week 10.
Yeah, regular season.
That's right. Yeah. But yeah. I am going to go with the Niners in this one because, like you said, Steven, I don't trust that Green Bay offense. I don't trust that defense. The only person that I can really trust on that Green Bay Packers team is Aaron Jones because,
Yes.
like it or not, he is a great running back and he always will be. But give me the 49ers in this one. I'm going to go 31-21.
Okay.
I gotta go. Football gods, please hear me out. Make this loyal Bears fan's dream come true.
And give Kevin a coaching job.
Well, yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
GM job.
I mean, don't worry. We're not getting Josh McCown as our coach. That's unfucking believable. If that fucking happens, you will hear from me that very week. I guarantee you about that. Take our fucking backup. Yeah, take him. Goodbye. Anyways, football gods, please help me out here. I gotta go with freaking San Francisco. Come on, you think I'm not? I'm gonna go San Francisco. 31, Green Bay. I would say 0 because I'm an asshole, but I'm not going to. It's actually gonna be for me. It's gonna be 31-27.
Ooh, okay.
Okay.
See that?
Yeah, I think
as much as I hate Rodgers, as much as I hate Green Bay, I gotta give the team credit. They're playing great football, play it on fire. That team itself is amazing. You know, come on. You got to give them credit where credit's due. So, but yeah.
Yeah, well, but the Niners are a much better put together team than Green Bay
And
is.
San Francisco is playing with house freaking money on the table, fellas.
Yeah.
yeah.
They have
What's your
no
score?
pressure.
I think it'll be a good game. I think that San Francisco probably will pull it out. They'll do better than scoring negative. I had them scoring at one time, but I think they'll do well. I think it's going to be let's say 30-27.
Okay.
It's going to be a close game.
Okay.
I think it'll be
So
Oh, here we go.
Here we go.
there's one guarantee, and everybody keeps talking about frigid Lambo. Okay, I get it. But there's one thing that you can do in the cold that's very successful. And that's one, run the fucking football down someone's throat. And two, play defense. And the two things that the Niners are that are bread and butter is running the fucking football and playing fucking defense. So with that being said, a fully healthy now squad with Nick Bosa and Fred Warner, I look for, like Joey said, Aaron Jones is a legit running back, but you have Dre Greenlaw, Fred Warner, and Azeez Al-Shaair all back in the starting lineup at linebacker, which has been completely smothering any run game that anybody has had. I think he's not a factor. I think the ball's going to be on Aaron Rodgers' shoulders, but I think we're going to keep him on the sideline the majority of the game. It's about ball control and possession. And as football terms here, as long as D'Amico don't fuck up like he did in week 3 and call some man coverage on Devontae Adams all game, then I think we're in good shape. I think more of we need to play cover 6, cover 2 on the backside and cover 4 on the other side. That way we got safety help over the top of Adams at all times. But with that being said, I got the Niners keeping Rodgers on the sideline. And when Rodgers is on the sideline, like he has been every time he has played the San Francisco team, not even this team itself, the Jim Harbaugh team of 2013 that put their asses out in the wild card round at Lambeau, the frozen tundra. I remember that like it was yesterday. Kaepernick, 100-plus yards rushing, touchdown. Made it look easy. I think it's something about the 49ers that Aaron Rodgers can't beat. No matter what they do in the regular season, they can go 16-0. It's just the San Francisco 49ers are just they're pests to the Packers. They just put them out. And I think it's going to be the same thing. I think it's going to be a game-winning field goal in overtime. San Francisco 26, Green Bay 23.
Okay.
Okay.
And the reason why that I picked the score that I did is because there has been times in these playoff defeats that Rodgers and Green Bay have been smothered.
Oh, I get it. I would agree with you. I would honestly pick that score, but I think they're going to make
Atlanta
it
destroyed them in the NFC Championship game.
Yeah, but like George Kittle said, like it should have been a blowout against Dallas. He said, oh, the 49ers make for great TV, don't we? We love to make things entertaining. So I think they're going to make this one too entertaining.
Yeah, either way, a blowout, a clutch game wouldn't surprise me. But the one surprise that won't be a surprise is Rodgers, we think, is going to lose again in the postseason when it matters the most.
Agreed.
Yeah, I agree with that. All right. Next game we have on the docket. My phone will act right. Good. All right. Rams and the Buccaneers at Raymond James Stadium.
It's going to be a tough one.
I have zero opinion. Other than I hope the Rams crush them. That's all I have. I'll be right back.
Oh, man. I honestly don't know who to say in this one. This one is hard.
I'll go ahead and start off the docket here then. The Rams, to be honest, they have the most pressure out of any playoff team of winning a Super Bowl this year just because of they went all in. They said, fuck it. Fuck our draft picks. Fuck any picks we got till 2025. We're going all in for Matt Stafford, Von Miller, Odell Beckham. We getting a superstar team in LA. But I'm sorry. I'm not going to be one of these clowns to bet against postseason Brady, and I'm not going to start today. If I'm wrong and the Rams win, so be it. That's one of the only times Tom Brady's losing like that. I'm going Brady, but I'm going to go into it. I'm going to go for a thriller. Give me a game-winning drive by Brady, 27-26 by Tom Brady.
Wow.
But remember what we said a while back. I believe it's when they played the Patriots on Sunday Night Football. And Ezra, we all were talking, and you said they need to learn how to run the ball. They got to run the ball. Well, against the Rams, the 49ers had exposed that is the Rams' biggest weakness. They can't stop the run. So what they need to do is try to get guys like Leonard Fournette if he comes back and plays, or like Giovanni Bernard, get them guys going. Get the run game going early and pound them. That's what Brady and them need to do. And I think they will.
That's an excellent point. I think Tampa Bay, man, as much as I want to go against the grain and pick pick LA in this game, man, LA has a lot of pressure on them this year with the super team that they have in Los Angeles this year. And the one time that I bet against Brady was when Atlanta 28-3 lead in Super Bowl 51 in Houston, Texas. And then the Patriots came back and won that game, as we all know, 34-28 in overtime, in the first overtime in Super Bowl history. With that being said, I am going to go with Brady and the Buccaneers to win in a thriller, like Kevin says, in Tampa Bay. I got Tampa Bay winning 30-28 on a game-winning touchdown pass by Brady to Mike Evans.
I'm going to go with Tampa Bay. It's going to be a firehouse game. 30. It's going to be Tampa Bay 34, Rams 31.
How about that's all she wrote?
I used to like you guys.
Oh man. And
It's a tough one, huh,
I hate
Joey?
to say it. This one is hard. I mean, on one hand, you got Tom Brady, who always tends to play his best football come playoff time. But then on the other hand, you got a balanced Rams team that actually looks like they could be a threat. Oh man, this one is rough.
Letting the Cowboys rough in the fourth quarter.
Oh my God. I want to go against the grain so bad. I want to, because my mind is telling me to pick the Rams. My mind is telling me to pick the Rams, but my heart is telling me to take the Bucks. So I'm gonna go with my heart on this one. I'm gonna go with my gut, and I'm gonna go with the Bucks on a game-winning touchdown pass in overtime. Give me the Bucks 37-34.
Ooh.
37-34. I think it's going to be 31-31 going into overtime. I think the Rams are going to get a field goal, but then Tom Brady's going to give the Buccaneers a touchdown drive.
Ooh. Interesting.
But it's going to be interesting to see if
Muted,
Leonard
Randy.
Fournette,
Randy, you're muted.
if Leonard Fournette does play, though. It is going to be interesting.
Damn it.
You had one job, like the Cowboys.
I had one job.
One
job.
One job.
I got the Rams by 40.
Whoa.
Aaron Donald finally ending TB12's career. Mark my word. 120-20.
That's a stretch.
Aaron Donald, I'm gonna give money to his favorite charity once he does it.
I'll donate one hate penny. All right.
I'll give him $1.280. That's all I got.
25 or 6-4.
Yeah, Chicago, baby.
There you go.
Best song ever.
I agree. I agree. Let's move on, guys. Bills, Chiefs, Arrowhead Stadium, the final game of the divisional round.
Another tough game. Whew.
Another very tough game. This one's going to be tougher to pick than the Rams and the Bucks. I mean, on the one hand, you got the Bills, who if I'm not mistaken, actually beat the Chiefs inside Arrowhead Stadium 30 back in the
38 to
regular
20.
season by a pretty big margin, 38-20. And
Yep.
that game was in Arrowhead Stadium. However, that was before the Kansas City Chiefs finally woke up and decided to play some football. And now look where they are. So, or actually, no, they finally decided to wake up and play some defense. That's what it was. But I'm gonna go ahead and tell you right now that the Bills will not have the same offense that they had against New England, because it's hard to have a perfect offensive game 2 games in a row.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, I am actually going to go with the Chiefs in this one. I'm going to go with the Chiefs. I mean, yeah, the Bills did beat the Chiefs at Arrowhead in the regular season, but this is the playoffs. Patrick Mahomes always plays his best football in the playoffs, except for when he got his ass handed to him in the Super Bowl last year, but I digress. But I mean, it's gonna be a very close game. I will say that. It's gonna be a very close game. So give me the Chiefs in this one. You know what? I'm gonna go an all-out offensive explosion. Chiefs on a game-winning field goal, 41-38.
Woo!
41-38. It's gonna be an offensive explosion.
I honestly think in this game, I think the Bills are going to win this game. I think it's going to be a close game. I'm going to go with the Bills in this game to once again beat Kansas City in Kansas City. It's going to be another, this time I think it's going to be close. I think Buffalo is going to win by the score of 31-28 on a game-winning field goal.
Yeah, I don't think that Buffalo is going to do like they did last week again. But I think that it's going to be a shootout. But I think Kansas City is going to somehow pull this out. I hate to say it. 45-42.
Ooh, wow.
Shootout, for sure.
Now, I'm going to go. I remember this one image that stuck in my head, and it really made me wonder how they would respond this year. And that was last year's rematch of the AFC Championship game. And during the AFC Championship game at the end, when the Chiefs pulled it out, Stephon Diggs was sitting on the sideline watching the Chiefs celebrate, like as motivation, like, all right, I'm coming back next year. We're coming back. We're coming for that ass next year. We're coming for the chip. We're coming to knock you out. And I think that's enough motivation to get the job done. And as long as Josh Allen's on the other side of the field playing his best ball like he should, I got the Bills winning. I'm going to go Bills 33-27 with a monster day by Stephon Diggs. 12 catches, 195 yards, 3 touchdowns.
Whoa!
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 All right, so now, before Ezra gives his score, I'm actually going to change my score because I think, I mean, yeah, both the Chiefs and the Bills have great offenses, but defense could also play a great aspect in this game. So I'm going to change my score to 27-24 Chiefs.
Yeah, that's a good point, Joey, because, I mean, these two defenses are very solid.
Yeah.
Especially, Buffalo's defense for the most part all year has been solid. In Kansas City, when they got Ingram, man, that defense woke up because after that game against the Giants, when they barely squeaked by with that win, I'm like, oh, this team is going nowhere.
But here's the problem. I think that's Kansas City's biggest weakness is cornerback. They don't have a DB.
Agreed.
And as long as Buffalo gives Josh Allen a little time without getting dirty in the pocket, they're going to eat Kansas City's DBs up all game. I
Absolutely.
guarantee you that. Like,
Yeah.
I will put money on the table. It's just, it starts in the trenches. Can Buffalo hold their own against that pass rush? If they can, Josh Allen throwing for 400 yards.
Oh, yeah.
I'll tell you that now.
Oh yeah. But this is going to be one barn burner of a game for sure.
Yeah,
And this
definitely.
is how close this is. But we've had 2 games now in this pick segment that have ended in that are right now we're at a tie.
Hey, you know what? I'm about to break that tie. And as much of a Patrick Mahomes fan as I am, and I am a huge fan of his, as much of a fan of his I am, I gotta go with Buffalo on this one. Listen to the score: 28-27.
Whoa!
Oh,
Wow!
Come from behind win from Buffalo. Touchdown, Josh Allen to Stephon Diggs. In the very last few seconds, they get it. Kick the point after, and time runs out. That's how I'm gonna go with.
That could
yeah,
happen.
so,
That could very well happen.
yeah, so to all you guys here tonight and to everybody who's watching on the show, I just got one thing to say. If y'all thought last weekend was wild, brace yourselves for an even wilder divisional round. Brace yourselves.
The greatest round in the NFL playoffs ever.
Yeah.
Something that the Dallas Cowboys will never see.
Ever again.
You know, at this point, Dallas just may want to just give up and just call it a season before the season.
Oh, wait, they
even
already have.
starts. Yeah, yeah, but you didn't
Good
let me
point.
finish. I was gonna say the Cowboys need to just call it a season every year before they even start playing.
All right, good point. All right, quickly before we get into some of those notes because we are getting close to the end of the show here. As far as time goes, I'm gonna go over a couple quick scores and then we'll move on to some NBA news. Pelicans right now beating the Knicks 46-42. Mavericks are beating the Suns 59-50. And the Pacers and the Warriors play tonight at 10 p.m. Eastern on TNT. And then Capitals Bruins are playing tied 2 apiece. Sabres and Stars. Sabres lead the Stars 4-3. Blue Jackets are leading Philadelphia Flyers 1-0. Penguins are beating the Senators 5-1. And the Predators beating the Jets 3-0. And then later tonight, Panthers and Oilers at 9 Eastern. Avalanche and Kings at 9:30 Eastern. Canadiens and Golden Knights at 10 p.m. Eastern. And also at 10 p.m. Eastern on ESPN Plus, the San Jose Sharks and the Seattle Kraken. All right, now that we got that out of the way, let's get into some NBA news. And trust me, according to this, there is a lot. And let's talk about, first off, some injury news. First, involving the Chicago Bulls. Lonzo Ball is going to be out 3 weeks with after undergoing arthroscopic knee surgery.
Oh wow.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a blow for Chicago as Lonzo, while he hasn't shot a lot or made a lot of points, he has been effective in the role that he's had, get his 10 to 15 points a game. It's been effective in helping the Bulls get those necessary wins. A couple other quick notes. LeBron currently leads the NBA in latest All-Star voting returns. Not shocking. Fan vote fucking sucks. Don't even get me started on that. I will spend an hour ranting on that shit, and we don't have an hour. The NBA has fined Kyrie Irving $25,000 for obscene language towards a fan.
Fuck you.
You guys.
Oh.
Once again, it is proof. John Moxley gets away with everything.
That's right.
That's right.
And then there were two monster
disagree with
games. There were two monster games this past weekend. Let's from Nikola Jokic, who had a 49-point triple double.
Woo!
Right?
Wow.
Joel Embiid, who scored 50 points in 27 minutes.
Damn.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, but how about the Charlotte Hornets being on an absolute tear right now? They've won 6 of their last 7, following a 9-point win over Boston in Boston last night. So Charlotte is looking really good right now.
Hey guys, what about those Lakers, man? They suck. They've lost their last 3 games in a row.
They lost to the fucking Indiana Pacers.
Hey, how about the fact that Russell
That hasn't
Westbrook
been
got
good
his
since
ass
the
benched?
90s.
Yeah, how about the fact that Russell Westbrook got his ass benched?
They were trailing by 7 points in the fourth quarter with about 7 minutes and change left in the fourth quarter, and you bench the guy that is the starting point guard of your basketball team? Well, that tells me right there that Westbrook is not the answer to the Los Angeles Lakers. And I'm telling you what, we talked about this a few months ago when this Lakers team was free falling all the way down to the bottom, that you thought that the Miami LeBron team in 2010 was bad at times. This Laker team has far succeeded that. The Lakers are not a consistent team. They do not belong in the playoffs. If they make the playoffs this year, the NBA is a joke.
See, and I'm telling you guys right now, Russell Westbrook, if he don't get his act together, we got something big coming up in the NBA called the trade deadline. So if Russell Westbrook don't get his act together, he may find his way out of LA via the trade deadline.
And not only that, but look at this Laker team. This Laker team has a bunch of veterans and a few veterans who have never tasted NBA championship gold. Never. And Russell Westbrook had a golden opportunity with the Oklahoma City Thunder with James Harden and Kevin Durant in 2012 against the Heat when he was with Thunder, except in game 4, Russell Westbrook had to score 44 points and took like 30-something shots. Remember that game, Kevin? Because you and I were at our graduation. Yep. We were at our graduation party that weekend watching that series together. And the fact that this goofball put up that many shots, and it just goes to show you that he never won a championship and he never will, because he's a ball hog. Oh, Kobe was a ball hog. Get the fuck out of here with that.
I mean, with all the veterans that the Lakers have on that team, and I'm talking about the key veterans who have been names in NBA for so many years.
Right.
The only one who actually has a ring right now, to my knowledge, is LeBron, because Westbrook don't have a ring. Dwight Howard don't have a ring.
He actually does. Dwight Howard,
he does.
Dwight Howard.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Dwight Howard does.
Dwight Howard,
ring,
LeBron, Anthony Davis all have a ring.
Yeah, but Carmelo doesn't have a ring.
Nope.
I mean,
never will.
Yeah, never will.
Westbrook,
I mean,
never will.
As far as I'm concerned, this Lakers team is just washed up, and it kind of reminds me of I'm trying to think of the name of that movie that had Shaquille O'Neal in it and all those other guys dressed up like old people from a retirement home. I cannot think of the name of the movie right now.
That's what the Lakers look like.
Yeah, but that's what this Lakers team kind of reminds me of. Only the main difference is all those old guys knew how to play ball, unlike the Lakers.
You know what? I think LeBron needs to take his Laker team to the acting studio so they can get in the next Space Jam movie.
Uncle Drew, that's what it was.
Yep, that's what. Yep.
Yeah, Uncle Drew. That's what it was. I couldn't think of the name at first.
Definitely. Really, and I think that outside of one little quick MMA note. Nate Diaz has called out Dana White in the UFC and has called for that rematch he wants with Dustin the Diamond Poirier. Of course, Nate Diaz a lightning rod of controversy with his words. Will he get that fight? We will see. Hopefully it does transpire because I would love to see another match between them two because it would sell fucking T-Mobile Arena out in a second. But yeah, like I said, we'll see what happens. That's pretty much the end of the show here, guys. Let's get into our final thoughts from everybody. Randy, first up.
Hey, just want to say good show, guys. Thanks for letting me be a part as always, and just hope my TB12 hate doesn't bring down the show. But
It doesn't. You
I-
have
I
hatred
just-
for TB12 like I have hatred for U2 and Oasis.
true that.
And then I'll throw it back to you.
I mean, it is a beautiful day after all.
It's a beautiful day. Yeah.
And I hope they lose on Sunday, Bloody Sunday.
But just hope everyone
With
has
or without you.
good weekend, and yeah, just
And here's the $1 million
it's-
question:
it's
when TB12, if they lose to the Rams, where were you while we were getting high? Anyways, continue. Sorry.
Oh, I'm done. Just everyone has a great weekend, and we'll see you at the new time. I think we were supposed to.
Well, yep. We're
Yep.
gonna announce that in just a second. Actually, after everybody does their
Okay,
final words.
Sorry, but just have a great week, everyone.
Yep,
Great
we'll
weekend.
do. Joe.
Once again, another great show with you gentlemen. I love getting on here each and every week and talking sports and talking junk about the teams that we all despise and the teams that we all like. Just gotta say, hope you guys are ready for an extremely wild divisional round of the playoffs come this weekend. And I'm sorry, I gotta say it one more time. How about them Cowboys?
And especially now that Tony's listening to the show. Oh God.
But
Shout-
yeah,
Shout out
yes.
to the man who has delivered more justice in more towns than anybody ever known.
Braden's sanity.
Tony
Yes.
Justice.
But yes, another great show with you guys. Not sure what the winter weather is going to be like this weekend, but whatever it is, I hope you guys tend to stay safe, and I hope you guys just have a great weekend. Enjoy the football playoffs. Stay
Yeah.
warm and stay safe.
All right, Kevin.
It was a good show with you guys again. It's going to be fun this weekend to watch the true 8 best teams in football hash it out for a spot in the NFC and AFC wild card, or NFC and AFC championship game, I should say. And just got one question to end this off with, and that's, who do the Cowboys play next weekend? And if you want to find that answer, you can find it on the song by Alicia Keys that says, "No one." Because they don't play a damn person. They don't play a damn soul, and it's great. You gotta love it.
You want to find out who they play? You want to find out who they play? You got to wait 7 more months. But Steven, you know the drill.
Once again, great show with you guys. And man, we always enjoy coming on here and having fun, hooting and hollering, cutting up about football and basketball and all that good stuff in the world of sports. And for us guys on the East Coast here in the Carolinas, it's going to be a cold, possibly snowy weekend, because tomorrow we're supposed to get some snow. And it's going to be frigid, just like it is in Green Bay, but not as cold as up there this weekend. Tomorrow's supposed to be in the high, it's supposed to be in the low, like 30, 31 degrees. And then we're supposed to be getting snow. And
Trust me. I know. Trust me. It was 10 degrees when I got off work at 6 a.m. Central.
Oof.
Whew.
And
But a wind chill of -5.
Oof. Yeah.
Oh,
And
nice.
just all around great show with you guys. And You can follow the Nation's Corner on Twitter at Nation's Corner, YouTube and Facebook, all at the Nation's Corner. They're going to be talking about the crazy week once again in the world of professional wrestling, talking about Mission Pro, GCW, being at the Hammerstein this weekend. You know, it's going to be an awesome weekend of wrestling and sports. And I have one thing left to say before we wrap this show, and that is ba 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 ba.
Oh, forgot about that. Oh man, absolutely. Great show as always, guys. Thank you very much for doing what you do. Great. Once again, we love every team in the NFL. Don't get us wrong. We just love having fun, you know, and it's nothing but fun here on this show. But one thing is, as we mentioned, we've been teasing a time change. And yes, due to some issues with conflicts with my work schedule and just timing, for now on, the shows will be now live on Tuesdays at our normal scheduled time, 7 Eastern, 6 Central, youtube.com. You know where to find us. That's our new time. Reminder, Tuesday at 7, 6 Central on youtube.com. That'll be the new time for our Nation Sports Show. Also, of course, Nation's Corner. Of course, you can find our, like you said, Nation's Corner. They'll be talking about everything, the world on GCW this Saturday, guys. Live from the Hammerstein Ballroom. What a card. John Moxley, Homicide for the GCW World Title. Alley Catch, Ruby Soho for the first time ever. Effie versus the King of the Mountain, Jeff Jarrett. Freaking, I mean, so many great matches on that card. You have a 6-way ladder match for the brass ring featuring some of the best. Jimmy Lloyd, Jordan Oliver, Alice Colon, PCO, Tony Deppen. You got a 6-way scramble featuring one of our personal favorites, Ninja Kamikaze Mac.
Yes.
You got Ninja Kamikaze Mac, the Sauce, Alex Zane. Also one big match I forgot. The Ring of Honor World Title will be on the line. Jonathan Gresham defends against All Heart, Blake Christian. It's going to be a massive show, and two pre-show matches, which are the 6-way scramble with Ninja Mac and Alex Zane, and a pre-show battle royal. Fight, of course, traditional pay-per-view providers, and fight.tv for more information on how to watch it. It's going to be a hell of a show. Hopefully next week on Nation's Corner, I will be on to discuss it. We'll see what happens.
And don't forget about UFC 270 this weekend with Francis Ngannou versus Cyril Gaines.
Absolutely. It's going to be one hell of a That's going to be one hell of a fight. Francis Ngannou, one of the best heavyweights on the planet, one of the best pound-for-pound fighters, and Giannis is a beast. I've been watching him for a while, and he's one of the premier fighters in the organization. I can't wait for that this weekend. It is going to be an absolute killer weekend with wrestling and MMA. Of course, like I said, Nation's Corner, follow them. Don't forget to also follow Too Sweet Cosplay, my crew at Too Sweet Cosplay on all of our socials, and follow our individual social medias. JTS Skins for Joe Thornton, Steve Wyand at Steven_Wyand, Deadman469 on all my social media as well. So that wraps that long fucking spew up. So for Stephen Wyand, for Joseph Thornton, Randy Geyer, and Kevin Rorie, I am Ezra Vickery, and we will see you next week on another great edition of our Nation Sports Show. Take care, everybody. Have a great weekend. And happy wrestling, everybody, as Ian Riccaboni would say. Peace.
Turn me up. Turn me up. Turn me up. Turn me up.